We have a great speaker with us today. Okay, so he's actually a law lecturer, a legal advisor for the DTE for the past 10 years. Okay, so actually he is Andrew, and he's been looking for second income and have been involved in a lot of network marketing before Atomy, and somehow feel that newbies always get a raw deal. Okay, so this was until he met Atomy and properly for the second time. Yeah, it's the second time. Then he started to look seriously into Atomy business. So today we have him here today with us all to share about the alphabet of success with Atomy, the big D's. Okay, so Andrew, you ready?
Okay, let's start. Yeah.
Okay. So
Thank you.
let's welcome Andrew.
Okay, thank you so much, Vance. Such a nice introduction. Just to add to that, guys. Again, welcome all of you here. Thank you for coming. What I want to just add a little bit more about myself is that I realized very early on that passive income was an amazing way to earn a living. Why? Because after, when I was waiting for my STBM results, just for part-time, I did a little bit of insurance. And I think in a matter of 2-3 months, I think I was already earning my dad's salary, and he was already a government servant. He was a chief overseer and all that. So you got a bit worried because those days insurance didn't have as good a name as it did now. It was in the 80s. So he quickly said, no, stop this, go and do law. So I went and did law. But I realized that for 2 years, the income, that work that I did for 3 months, kind of sustained quite a lot of my lifestyle for 2 years, because there was passive income coming in from commissions collected. So all my life, actually, I was looking for a form of separate income or another income through passive income. And because of that, I went into several MLM systems. Some of them are 50, 60 years old. You already know those companies. And I learned a lot, and I made money as well. But one thing or another actually, soured the experience, and we move on to a different MLMs and so on and so forth. That was until 2015, right? When I just had left another, I made a lot of money, but also the problem was this: they had packages. Some of you who've been in MLM. For those of you who already are in MLM and share my experience, I just put one in the chat room. Was that they had packages, so, say I bought a 6,000 package and I got 50% off the product discount. I got a discount. Then someone bought a small package and they got only maybe 10% discount. You find that when the business was so lucrative, a lot of people rushed in, then they wanted quick money. Right, so what they do is then they floated the systems, their product in online businesses and all, which means like for me, if I get something at $1, but I only get paid 50 cents, even if I sell at 60 cents, I'm okay. But the guy who earned, who paid 90 cents because he only got 10% discount will be wiped out. So these are things within the MLM system that needed correction. Other thing was so they make you buy packages. They say you must monthly purchase, and you must recruit people, and so on and so forth. So a lot of this actually, sometimes even makes you, you lose your friends and family. So this is all the negatives of that. So for a long time, I didn't want to get involved. And so when in 2015, 16, somebody introduced me to Atomy, straight away, I said, no, brother, I don't want to do this direct selling, right? So I let it go because my heart was closed. I was not open to the possibility. I was not open to the opportunity. So past experience and past, bad experience, I should said, no, nothing doing. But in 2019-20, when I was reintroduced, also through Ben's and another friend of mine who's a young man, and he's a university student, then he patiently explained why Atomy is different and why this is a workable thing. And me being a lawyer, I did a lot of due diligence on the company. I did a lot of due diligence on the products that they sell, the possibility of growth, because you want to go and make money, and then 3 years later the company shuts down. And then I realized that this company is already, in 2016, it's already many, many years. They started in 2009 and they're in so many countries, they're in the US. So the more I dug deep, the more I got to know the beauty of this company. And today I'm fully committed in this company. And I want to share this with as many people as I can. Right, and remember, and remember at Atomy, there's no hard sell. We do not believe in hard sell. We just share, and and if you feel inclined to come and try this out with us, then there are so many people who are willing to help you. And this is one such session where we actually share our knowledge and help each other. Right. So the sum of my talk, if we look at the title, it says the alphabet of success. Right now, one thing I discovered is, see, I come from not a well-to-do background, and I know a lot of Malaysians actually who are perhaps successful today, who are lawyers, doctors, engineers, and so on and so forth, businessmen. We all had a slow start to life, and some of that I feel is because that the language we learn align ourselves to success. All right, so that's what I want to share here today. And so if you feel, and some of you will experience different things or understand different things because of your experience. So you have anything, just please put it up in the chat, and then we will take it up. Okay, can you all see this, guys?
Yeah, can.
Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. So the big D's. I'll come to why the big D's first. All right. So the alphabet of success with Atomy. Right. Now, so essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the effect of language. Why language is because we communicate. As human beings, we have to communicate, and sometimes the effect of this language determines our life path. Right. So there are certain words that bring up certain images. Now, you saw the advertisements just now. A lot of it, actually, we didn't understand, even if they had language there, because, we don't speak that language. But what actually happens is we still are able to understand what the guy in the track was doing, or what the Cambodian chap was doing. Why? Because a lot of us are able to capture images. Of course, these words bring up certain images, and then images also give us certain interpretation. Some are positive, some are negative. We'll look at that today, right? Now, most of us don't know the path of success yet. All of us are going to be successful, or somebody already are on the path of success, but most of us want to learn how to be successful. We are not there yet. So let's see how Atomy helps us with that, right? Next is, Atomy has prepared a system. It prepares a system where you can relearn this language. So even if you have not learned the language of success, or you have perhaps learned the language of failure, you can relearn this language for your personal growth and your financial growth through the application of this alphabet of success. Now, alphabet, incidentally, is just alpha, beta put together, right? Alphabet of success, for those who are interested in trivia like that. All right, next. Now, communication. Now, essentially, all of us communicate because we are maybe of different race, our backgrounds are different. We all use different languages, perhaps, So therefore, language is the basis of communication in any society. Whichever society, there's some form of language, right? Now, and we communicate constantly, some actually even non-verbally. For example, through body language, when you shrug, when you close your eyes or whatever. So these are all forms of communication, right? Now, but truly, to understand each other, now, because we come from multi-racial background, cultural backgrounds, in order for us to understand each other, there is a common language. Well, the common language like today in this system would be like English, for example, right? So this language is a code to decipher what the other person is saying. So if I have the code, I can understand what Sweeney is saying, or Ben is saying, or you can understand what I'm saying. But if you don't master the code, then you may not understand what I'm trying to say, or maybe partially understand what I'm trying to say. So a language, a common language, is a code, right? So, and what is alphabet actually? Alphabet is basically a set of letters, signs, symbols, marks that we agree to interpret in a particular way. Like, for example, I believe Mandarin is very pictorial. Like a house, I think the image of the house, or the sign of the house in the alphabet, is similar to the shape of a house. So these are different alphabets that develop in different socioeconomic society, right? Now, let's move on. If you guys don't agree with any of this, please put it again in the chat and then we can take it up. Yeah. All right. So, alphabet. Now, we've earlier talked about communication and languages. Yes, we agree. Now, what is this language? Is a creation of this alphabet. So, for example, A or Aleph or Alpha is essentially just a mark or a symbol that we as a society give meaning, a particular meaning or a particular sound to it, right? Through maybe hundreds of years. Therefore, to master communication, we need to understand and arrange the signs or letters or symbols in a particular order to give a particular meaning, right? This is how it is. We are taught this in school, right? For example, EVIL, right? Now, instantly, when you say evil, it has a negative connotation, right? So the image in your mind is a negative of negative things and so on and so forth. But the same EVIL, you can rearrange to be LIVE, which is something positive. Do you follow what I'm trying to say? So what I'm trying to say here is the basis of communication is this alphabet. And this alphabet has these letters, which are all symbols and signs. And we rearrange this to give meaning. And when we give meaning, what happens is there are certain images that is imprinted in your mind. Positive images, negative images, which then later determine the way you react to certain words, certain symbols, certain signs. Right? Psychologists have actually said that when we are, let's say, for example, between the ages of say 1 to about 6, we are, the children are actually in theta wave. Theta wave means they absorb everything that happens around them. What do you mean by that is, if a grandfather and grandmother is watching serial, the mother and father are discussing about tomorrow, the sister is doing or reading out her homework aloud, this 3-year-old boy can absorb everything and there's no filter. So that's why it's very, you must be very careful as to what they actually hear. And so you cannot be having father and mother fighting about money, for example. While he's playing with his toys, he's absorbing it, you know, or grandfather saying to the grandmother about how the poor people are bad or money is evil, you know, things like that, right? So anyway, this is what psychologists have already come to the conclusion. Yeah. Okay, next. Communication through a language. So how do we learn a language? We learn a language from our elders, and the meaning of these words or the whatever meaning that they put into a particular word, we learn from our elders. Sometimes they put in energy into those words, and we actually absorb that in a non-verbal way. We understand when somebody stresses something negative into a particular word, we not only capture the meaning of the word, but the energy that comes with it, right? And we carry this meaning and interpretations throughout life and attribute certain characteristics to certain words. We put a label to a particular words, right? For example, you please let me know if you find this also in your life. Money sometimes instantly gives the meaning of worth in some people. Sometimes it gives the meaning of lack. The word money means lack, because that's what they've experienced, or evil, or pleasure. So you can also have both positive and negative connotations from simply the word money. The image that comes in your mind can be both positive and negative. It depends on the language that your society or the people around you or your household fixes to it. Okay. So next question. Do we learn or are we taught? Right? Okay. Now, why this is important is sometimes when we are learn or we taught, we always believe that we are taught, right? And sometimes that's true. So even today, schools, because I teach, schools are moving away from teaching students to helping them learn. Because you find that there is, in today's world, you can't teach them everything, because those days we could. Because there was the textbook, and the textbook sometimes even doesn't change for 3-4 years. But because of this thing called the phone, what we teach today may actually be varied or added on or completely changed by something that's happening on the other side of the globe. So there's no way we can teach them the latest thing. So we have to teach them how to learn, right? And you will learn in Atomy, that is also the same way. We don't talk down to you, but we help you learn, right? So For example, earlier we spoke about money. What about work? So work often brings up images of hardship or sweat and toil. Sometimes it brings stability. Have work, stable life. No work, life not so stable. No, pleasure, growth. Again, all these connotations come from the society you live in and the household you come from. Right? Similar to the word change. Change could bring out images of pain, moving from a comfort zone, uncertainty, but it could also bring new experiences, better, sometimes worse. So change has all these images in your mind. So what we're trying to say is when you follow the letter of success or the alphabet of success, you reinterpret these words that come into your life. And these are the words that I'll come to later, the D's that we need to focus on. Yeah. All right. So you see, words by themselves are neutral, but the meaning and the energy we are taught to give these words determine our life paths. Then we ourselves teach our kids and those younger than us. So it's a vicious circle of sorts. Huh? So what allows, can you see this? Yeah, our minds. What we allow into our minds determines our life paths. Right. So please try to absorb what we are saying. Yeah, what we allow in our minds determines our life path. Some we've already allowed in through our elders or through school or through friends or through experiences and all, but we are still every day allowing new things to come into our mind. So sometimes the filtering is not there, right? So if you have a particular perception about money, then whatever you see on TV, whatever your friends say, whatever that's happening around you, you will see through that lens. So you will not change your opinion of the word money, for example. Right? So be very careful because what we allow in our minds determines our life path. I'll go further. Now, experts say that it's very important what we teach our kids from the moment they are born right up to the ages of 9 to 11, as this forms the basis of our personalities. Later on, I'll talk about therapists, and you find that sometimes we all face blocks in life, right? I actually read about a story of this guy who followed the secret very, very strictly, and he got everything that he wanted, but at some point everything collapsed. It went on and on and on and on and on, and then suddenly everything collapsed. So he didn't understand why this was so. Now, when he went back to a mentor and spoke about it, he realized that he came from a background where he believed his self-worth was only, let's say, 100,000. All right. So in his mind, the limit that he set is 100,000. I'm worth 100,000. So when he started earning 200,000, he didn't believe. He said, oh, okay, fine. Then 300,000, 400,000. The doubt that was within him became bigger and bigger and bigger. And he says, now I'm earning 500, surely everything will collapse. Surely things will happen. So when he hit a particular amount, everything collapsed. In fact, it was back to square one or even worse. So when we went back to ask why, what happened, the mentor then said, listen, it's like you're building a castle on sand. See, there's sunlight, there's birds chirping, everything is beautiful. So you then get into the delusion that you can build a castle on sand. See, that means your foundation is not firm. That means that the doubts that you have about money or about your self-worth, you didn't remove. So what happens is, as it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, your success, the doubt also becomes bigger and bigger. And as I said, images determine our life path, and it collapsed. All right. So please, if you do face blocks in certain things, you have to go back to your earlier life or speak to someone, find out what is this that is stopping you from truly achieving your path. Right. Atomy actually has a system that helps you. And that is why you find millions of people, millions of distributors all around the world are actually making something of themselves through these simple processes. Yeah, we will come to that later. Right now, as we grow older, our elders or sometimes most of our parents who are literally our gods. When you are 3 years old, your father and your mother is your god, and everything they say is sacred and it's mantra. You follow them to the T, right, without question. Right, and sometimes, sadly, what we are taught stays on as our blueprint for life, for better or for worse. Right, we learn good things, that stays with us, be kind, be helpful, and all those things. But then there are also certain beliefs that is handed down inadvertently. They don't want to spoil your life. It's just that that's all they know, right? So, of course, our loved ones do not mean for us to be not successful. No one who loves you wants you to be a failure, right? But what actually happens is usually either the idea of success, which comes from their own elders, may be obsolete, or maybe they themselves do not know what success is. Now, a lot of us face this difficulty maybe when we wanted to tell our parents or even our wives that, hey, I want to do this business, it's MLM. But because of what they've heard, they may not have done MLM, but because of what they've heard about MLM, they have this belief, and then they block you. All right. So these are some examples, right? Now, the ignorance, unfortunately, this especially our elders, comes across generations and leads us to repeat the same mistake. Now, remember, the world is changing. So, like when I wanted to study, right, my father said, stop doing this, but go into law. Now, he meant it in the best possible way because he wants his son to be respected, be successful, and so on and so forth. But in his time, to be successful, you're either a lawyer, doctor, or engineer. And that was the knowledge he had. If I tell him I wanted to be an entrepreneur, he would have probably freaked out because there's no such thing as an entrepreneur, perhaps, in the 80s. So anyway, so they are not with bad intention that they pass on this language to us, but it actually comes across generations. And unfortunately, because we treat them as God, this thing gets into us. And then we live those truths that we believe to be true, right? So more importantly, at some point, we have to realize that no one is to blame for the lack of our success. That's the first thing that success is, the realization that no one is to be blamed for your success. And that we are the one true captain of our ship, and we alone bear the responsibility to charter a path towards our own success. Okay, guys, taking responsibility. Now, once this awareness has come, and how does this awareness come? Is because you are unhappy, right? If you are not successful and it doesn't make a difference to you, then this awareness that something must be done will not come. The awareness will come when you see things around you. You're unhappy about this. You're frustrated about that. Now, that means that somehow or other, you know that you're on the wrong path. And you need to take responsibility. And that means take action, right? That means take action. So one of the first things you need to do is decide that you're going to change. All right? If you're unhappy as you are, obvious intellectual thing to do is that there needs to be change. Right? Decide that you're going to change, and not just for yourself, but the family, and be responsible for the good that you should bring, not just for your family, but also for the generations that will come after you. So it all starts with that decision and the action. So if you decide and then you take action, you will not only change yourself, but your family and those who are not even born yet. Generations. Now, one of the things that links up to Atomy is this, that Atomy's system allows you to pass your business to 3 generations, 2 more generations after you. So if I was now, a practicing lawyer and I develop a beautiful, huge law firm, now, in order for my son to inherit that, he has to also become a lawyer. He also must have the skills that I have. And otherwise, what will happen is whatever I built will be destroyed, or at least, not be as successful as I had created it. Same thing with doctors, same thing with other professionals. So Atomy, on the other hand, says this. If let's say I develop this business up to a point where I earn 20,000 USD, and then for some reason, I pass it on to my son. Now, my son will then continue on from 20,000. He'll be earning 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. And some may say other systems also allow this. But mind you, other systems also want my son to do the business. But Atomy does not insist my son must do the business. All he needs to do is be a consumer and buy a product once a year, and he will continue receiving the income, ever increasing income up to the 50,000 a month USD a month that the company has been giving to those who hit the pinnacle. right? So therefore, so what I'm saying is, Atomy, if you take the decision, you take the action, and you do the business, and you build the business, you can then pass it on to generations who are probably not even born yet. Okay. Okay. So what do we do next? Learn, unlearn, and relearn. So how do we change? We've already decided and we want to take action. So how do we change? First, we must decide what's our big why. Now, one of the beautiful things that I've gone through when I went for training with Atomy is they actually, that's the first step in any training that they do, which is they ask you, why do you want to change? How are you going to, bring benefit to you and the loved ones? What is that why that you need to change? Now, this is an entirely different lecture or discussion, so I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is very important. You must ask yourself, what is this need? Why do you want to change? If your why is strong enough, then no matter what negativity comes, you will be able to go across. It's like a wall. As long as you say there's a wall, there's nothing that's going to happen. But so long as you say, hey, I'm going to go around the wall, or I'm going to climb over the wall, then that negativity or the obstacle becomes a stepping stone for you to change and be successful. Next, we must unlearn the negative and relearn the positive. Now, this is something that's very important, because when we've learned the language of failure, it is done with love. Right? Some of you may not agree with me, but I've spoken to many people, and a lot of them who are then successful realize that one of the things that held them back was they have learned this language of failure from their loved ones. Right? And it becomes so difficult to change because it is literally being traitorous to your society or traitorous to your loved ones. But if you take the step to relearn this language to success, you can then bring the success down to those who love you. So change the alphabet so that you can now use the alphabets of success in your communication. Right? Today we'll be doing 3D, so just be a little patient with me. So I just want to go through this so you understand why we need to do this. Right? Now, next question. Okay, this one I'm going to expect some answers from you all. Do you know who you speak to most every day? Can I have some answers? Who do you speak to most every day? Are you guys with me? Family, that's good. Who else? Who else do you speak to most every day? From morning, at least, at home, at work, who do you speak to? Wife, okay. Anyone else? Okay, family street is good. Okay, thank you guys for responding. All right, good answers all. But essentially, the one person you speak to most every day is you. Perhaps you don't speak to yourself aloud, because then you become crazy, but you actually speak to scientists. Statistics prove that you speak to you the most every day, right? You ask yourself, should I take this route? Will it be jam? You ask yourself, should I buy nasi lemak or should I have laksa? So you speak to yourself the most every day, because you spend the most time with you every day, my friends, right? Now, so this is a realization that most of us, stumble across. So one of the books I read was asked me this question, and I also said, my friend or my whatever, but actually it's not. You speak to you the most every day, right? So since you speak to you the most every day, right? Earlier I had shown a slide, which I think I re-emphasized, which is what we allow into our minds determines our life paths, right? So how do we communicate or talk to ourselves? We don't verbally speak, right? But most of the time we do it mentally through our mind. So what we say to ourselves is infinitely more powerful because you repeat the same thing over and over. Once you hold the belief, then you say, no lah, don't go down that road, that place always jam. No lah, don't go down this road, there's a traffic block. So past experience makes you repeat this over and over and over. And similarly, when you relearn something negative, or when you learn something negative, then you relearn it over and over and over, and you repeat the same thing, right? And the sad part is only the two of you know about this, Simon Sinek had done a video where he talked about the world would be so great if there's only you in the world, because you are the only person who can truly, fully understand you. Nobody else can, right? So going on to this, so we allow things into our mind, and when we speak, we reinforce it. And because it's not the spoken language or the mental language, through images and all, it becomes repetitive, and this sometimes if it's negative, it holds you and forces you. Sometimes you don't even know why you make that decision, but that's because you're programmed to decide that way, right? So what do we do now? Of course, in Asian communities, we have friends. We say, hey, bro, this is happening. Oh, I know I'm not getting the promotion that I want. I don't know what's happening and all that. But in the West, of course, they then go to go to see therapists and try to get themselves some help. Now, essentially, a good friend and a therapist does the same thing. Right, and I'm going to share this. Can you tell me what your therapist will do, especially for those who have got a therapist or who are therapists? What do they do? Right now, say for example, if I go to a good friend who really knows me from school, and share with him something, chances are he will try to make me feel better. So what he will do is he will try to put a positive spin on things. He will say, why not like this, bro? Right? Which is what a therapist will do. A therapist will make you lie down on the couch, get comfortable, and then they will ask you questions. So, for example, if they say, let's say, okay, why do you have problem with authority, for example? All right. Then you say, I don't know, and then you explain what actually happens. That this is this. So when the therapist is looking at you, what they do is they give you a different spin. Why not this? What about if they had meant this instead of that? So it literally it's what the book I read, it says what therapists actually do is like when you have a diary, right? When you have a diary, and then you write it down and you put it away, right? The therapist forces you to take the book back out and rewrite that. So now on the third day, when you look at the book again, you have a different view. You rewrite something else, put it back. Fourth day, different view. After, say, about 10 sessions of this writing, rewriting, which is basically learning, unlearning, relearning, you then have a completely different memory of that incident. So what you feel as negative, I'm afraid of fire because I had this incident when I was young. But the therapist will be able to tell you, okay, why are you afraid? It's guilt. It's the fear of hurt. So when they reframe these things by talking to you, putting little information, so say, okay, fine, right? Now, when they ask you to recall the memory again, you will recall with these new learnings that you had. Okay, then they give you some more information. Then you go back, you come back. So when after about 10 times you go back, you will realize that your first memory of a particular incident and your present memory of your particular incident is completely different. Literally, you remember things differently. And when you remember things differently, sometimes they stop being blocks. You with me? And it's always about the language. It's always about talking about these things and trying to reframe things, right? So this is what a good therapist or friend will do, which is essentially trying to change this language or change this experience you've had, a negative experience, for example, right? Now, so what about those who can't afford therapists? Okay, good friends. Okay, if good friends are there, yes, great. But sometimes there are certain things, as I say, we don't even tell your good friends. You only tell yourself, right? So then what do you do? All right. This is where a mentor or a master or a sifu or a guru comes in. All right. Someone you trust, someone you believe, just like the therapist who you believe means you well. So along comes the mentor, Master Sifu, and most of this time, Atomy actually has a fantastic system. Now, I personally feel that my introduction to Sifu, Siti Chan, and Benz has actually changed my view on MLM. It's changed my view on passive income, changed my view on my self-worth, my ability to be where I want to be and where I want to go, and the good that I can bring. Right? So look for your master, look for your guru, look for your sifu, look for your mentor. And I'm not talking about in a religious sense. I'm talking purely on personal development and personal growth. Right? So I want to share a story about our founder and CEO, Dr. Park. He went to a particular village because he was sourcing for herbal products and stuff. So we went to different villages. So he went to a particular village, and when he was starting out when he was starting out a particular product, right? Now, so he saw that the place had no school, so he had tried to gather some support to start a school, but there seemed to be people were quite complacent. No, they didn't want to do anything about it. So he said, okay, anytime you guys feel like you want to change, just please give me a call. Now, several years later, he went back to that same village, and the same village still did not have a school, and still there was no change. Whereas all the villages around that place who he had visited and who he had helped to maybe part sponsor a school or something like that, they all have changed for the better. But this particular village did not change. And that actually is the basis of why he insists that we must have a free education system. Because without education, you cannot bring change, good change. All right. So this is why it's very, very important for you to tap into the Atomy system. For those of you already here who have not yet tapped into the education system, please do come for your success academies, go for your one-day seminars, come for your talks, and you will definitely learn something, even if it's not about your business, about yourself, something that will help you move yourself. Right? Okay, so we are blessed that Atomy system is free. It's provided free for all members. So we reach out our hands, just hold it and come in and join us, right? Now, this system not only teaches you about Atomy itself, but also how to be a better version of you, to understand where you are right now and where you want to go and what you should do to reach your destination. And these are people, these mentors and these sifus are people who really don't need this in their lives. They are successful already, but yet they reach down to us to help pick us up and push us up, right? So the system is already there. Tap into those systems. Now, as I said, the leaders are already successful and they already have a balanced lifestyle, but they generously share with you their secrets so you too can relearn this alphabet of success. Okay. Again, it's totally free. For newbies who are here for the first time, thank you for being with us here, so you can understand the philosophy behind Atomy, what we are trying to do. It's about bringing change, right? Not just monetarily, but also generally, because if everybody loves it, it's like this, When I was young, I was told, pray that everybody is good and well. Pray that everybody is good and well. But my heart didn't allow it, because I said, why should I pray for everybody? Because there are evil people in the world. There are bad people in the world. Why should I pray that they also God take care of them? All right. But later on, of course, as you grow, life teaches you things. You realize that a person is not good or evil or whatever label that you give them because of the situation they are in. Perhaps they don't have money, perhaps they don't have the right education, good support. So when we pray that everyone should be taken care of and should be good or should be healthy or should be well, then if everyone is well, there will be no robbers, there will be no burglars, there will be no evil people in the world. You see, so that's the vision that Atomy has for everyone, for the whole world actually, that we share, that we love, that we help each other with success. It's all collaboration, not competition, right? So anyway, so today's topic is essentially the big 3Ds, the big Ds, right? So I'm going to skip A, B, and C in this alphabet of success, go straight to D. All right, why? Because I've compiled these videos by Jim Rohn, Anthony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, and others, from whom we can relearn this new language, this language of success. It has helped many people succeed, and we hope that some of the things here will help you, right? Now, decision. Now, the first key is decision. So decide. Right now, this is a very difficult thing for a lot of us to do, but I'm going to tell you what you benefit from making this decision. So decide. First thing, nothing comes out of decision making, and you can give many reasons for not deciding, but it's as simple as do or don't, right? So decide that this is an awesome day for a new beginning. Decide that this is an awesome day, no matter what. Decide. Second, that it will never be the old way again. That's gone. Decide to step from darkness to light. Decide to step from inactivity to activity. A lot of our times, our ignorance, fear is essentially, fear and faith are the same thing, right? What is fear? Fear is like you're worried about something in the future. What is faith? Faith is something that you're happy about the future. It's both the same energy. So why do you spend so much time on fear? That prevents you from activity. So decide to step from inactivity to activity. Make the turn to live a new life. And once you decide, guys, and a lot of us here have already decided, forgive me that I believe there's no E there. Decide, you cannot believe how much will open up to you the day you decide. And power living is decision making. If you want to be the master of your life, decide and not let decisions be made for you. You make the decision and be responsible for that decision. Okay, so this is the first D, decision. Now, why Atomy? Now, when I say decide, okay, many things to decide, but you're here for Atomy, so you want to know why Atomy. So when I say decide Atomy, why? Because it's a righteous business, unlike any other network marketing system in the world. When I say righteous, I'm not saying it in a spiritual way or anything like that. What I'm saying is, it is the right way to do business, right? Because a lot of us have this mindset, the moment you come into business, you have to be cunning, you will be sly, you got to, it's either win, lose, right? Whereas Atomy prepares a righteous system where it's a no fear, no force system, unheard of in the MLM world, right? There's no fear, there's no force, there's no compulsion, right? Yet last year, hundreds of millions in commissions were distributed all across the world from a nearly $1.5 billion USD in sales. And mind you, this is all voluntary sales. People are not forcing you to buy. People just buy it because they love the product, they love the feeling, they love Atomy itself. So hundreds of millions in commissions were distributed all over the world last year. Now we are in 18 countries. So all these Atomians in these 18 countries are able to take the benefit of the product and also the business system. For those of you here who want to, who love the product, who understand the product, here we are trying to tell you that it's not just about the product, but the business structure itself is so righteous. So, therefore, again, why Atomy? Now in Atomy, there is, I'm sure your people have already told you, or the sponsors will already told you, there is no registration. We do not charge. We do not believe in registration, right? So you come onto the system absolutely free. Right? No purchase, no forced purchase. We don't force you to buy $200 a month, or there's dropship, or leave your credit card, nothing of that sort. You buy what you want, when you want, right? No packages. I already told you my experience with packages. The big packages always scavenge the small packages. So we do not believe in packages, right? And the other thing about packages, the other systems use this. When you buy a package, let's say $600, right? Now some of that comes back to you as your income. And then you get 10 other people, and then some of their money comes to you as income. So you may think that when you join the system, oh, there's money coming. But what then happens is a short-term gain, guys. Because the package system will ultimately kill your network, kill your team. Sometimes you won't even be invited to weddings. So we don't have that packages system here. Fair time payback system, I think we are paying the highest, the company only keeps 30% for itself. The rest is distributed and used to go, right? Right. Let's go on. Okay. Unlimited levels. We are the only company, I believe, that has unlimited levels. When I first came into this system, I said there's no way you can make unlimited and be sustainable. But the company has found a way, because we do not have the pyramid shape. We have a flat top where there is a 5,000 per day, or rather 50,000 USD per month income cap. Because the idea is this, let's not bullshit, right? We've come to use these systems, right? This side income or part-time income, because we say that we need quality of life. We need to spend time with our loved ones. We need to travel, and our 9 to 5 stops us and all that kind of stuff, right? So with 50,000 USD a month, can you do all those things? Yeah, but if we don't cap you, you will continuously keep chasing the money and go back to your active income situation. So unlimited levels, yeah. Global one system. That means you see, when I was in another system, I used to have 3 IDs, because one for US, one for Singapore, one for Malaysia, and the points don't collate. They don't add up. Whereas in our system, I can have someone in Indonesia who then has someone in Singapore, who then has someone in the Philippines, and the person in the Philippines purchases, I still get the points. I'm still able to cash out on the sales that happens through all over the world, right? Very importantly, Atomy is a global online business that can service more than 40% of the world's population today. We have access to 40% of the world population today. I can tell you from personal experience that to go and start a business in a different country is hell, and it involves a lot of capital. But without capital, remember, they don't ask you for anything. You now have access to 40% of the world's population to do your business, right? Now, this gives the Atomian consumer so many benefits and makes each Atomian consumer a successful one, which is the language that we are talking today, successful, right? So decide today that this is the opportunity and take action. Next, D is desire. Now, a lot of us feel that desire is a negative word, right? But actually, we are talking about high desire, the desire to create an extraordinary life for you and your loved ones, to give meaning to our presence on this earth. Why are we here, right? To be the best and give the best. But this desire, even if we don't recognize it, resides in all of us. Sometimes this high desire is suppressed. For example, women want to be successful, but for many years they were not allowed to start a business or in fact even be independent, right? So this desire, this high desire, is sometimes suppressed through unfairly, even brutally, due to influence, due to ignorance, due to a bitter family situation, due to certain burdens or responsibilities that you have, where you want to do this but you cannot. This full expression of your desire cannot happen because you have responsibilities, right? Now, due to this high desire is not let out to see the light of day. Yet surely this desire resides in each of us to be the absolute best. So we just need a vehicle to help us breathe life into this desire that is within us, to wake it up and say, hey, let's go, make it happen, to be and do the absolute best that we can, right? Now, along these lines, Atomy is also reliving that, because Atomy is all about absolutes. So the basic promise that Atomy makes to all your consumers and all our distributors is that all the products that carry the Atomy name has the highest quality and the most affordable price. And we call this is our mantra, this absolute quality and absolute price, right? Now, we achieve this through message, which is another word that is purely Atomian. Again, a language of success. Message comes from mass production of prestige product, whereby we now, through mass production, allow the masses, the common people, to have access to prestigious products that they may never get otherwise, right? And another change that Atomy has brought to our language of success is it has turned the image of quality. Now, if I ask you guys what quality is, you would often say expensive or not affordable. But we have now changed quality to be affordable and available to each and every one of us. So quality is not out of our reach, it's well within our reach because of absolute quality and absolute price. So the desire to be absolute brings success to all, and this is the desire that Atomy we want release into the world and out of each of us, right? to leap from our hearts and minds and infect the world. Now, in fact, of course, may have negative connotation. Throw that away and understand infect in a positive way. We want to infect people with joy, with fulfillment, with success. Okay. Now, the third D, this is the last D, is we've looked at decisions and desires. Now, let's look at the third D that puts this together to ensure that the success is assured, which is discipline. Right? Now, discipline is often, again, going back to language, discipline is often a negative word, a negative meaning. People shrink away because of the images that discipline brings about, right? But discipline, like you think it's hard work, it's, sweat and toil, it's, negative. But discipline is the most incredible creative force, right? Discipline builds trust. Discipline builds careers. Discipline develops good health. Discipline puts together friendships that won't quit forever because discipline, right? Develops skills. Discipline opens up music. You can't have incredible music without discipline. In fact, we call these creative forces disciplines. Architecture, music, writing, composing, sculpting, they're all disciplines, right? The creative force that turns nothing into something and to turn imagination to reality. You can only forge it through discipline. So let's change our attitude to discipline. We should appreciate it and welcome it into our lives. So how Atomy? Now, anyone can be a success at Atomy. How? Discipline yourself to learn the simple, duplicable, and scalable system that Atomy has created, especially through our team synergy systems. Learn, which is your first step, then learn to share what you have learned. Only two things, learn, and then learn to share what you have learned. Now, this simple process ensures that your imagination for success is turned into reality. That fun-filled vacation that you want, the time freedom to wake up when you want, the money freedom to gift what you actually want to give your loved one, the security of peace and happiness. No longer just a dream in your mind, it becomes a dream come true in the real world through discipline. Now, I am also saying discipline because Atomy itself is forged through discipline. Now, Atomy comes across through amalgamation of two companies called Kerry and Colma. Now, a lot of people may not know Colma, but there are 9 Colmas around the world. Colma is a 100-year-old company from the US, but we deal with the Colma Korea. And Kerry is the Korean Atomic Energy Research Institute, which is a government-linked entity, research institute. We are the only, I believe, we are the only direct selling company that is backed by a government, right? So both Kerry and Colma have come together to bring about Colma B&H. So in fact, the first product that was distributed through Colma B&H and through Atomy was one from Kerry called Hemohim, and the other one was the Absolute Set, Fame Set, which you can talk to your uplines about it. Yeah. So through Kerry and Colma, we have Colma B&H, which is a public listed company in South Korea, right? So again, the concept of discipline, trust is there, and Atomy is the distribution arm. Now, this discipline to set down systems in manufacturing, distribution, sales, and consumer success is what actually has brought about success. Now, just as an example, discipline, I said, brings about trust, right? Now, that is why all these other companies that actually are big companies in their own name actually rely on Atomy for their Colma for their manufacturing. Now, some of the names are international here: L'Oreal, MAC, New Skin, and so on and so forth, right? Now, the simple principle is they have a good manufacturing practice. They give you 100% money back guarantee if you're not happy with the product, made from natural ingredients. Every single product made by Atomy is made from natural products. All right. So there's no, feedback, negative feedback from use of these products. One of the other things that you need to know is the return rate from Korea, again, through discipline of making sure the quality is the best and the price is the lowest. Malaysia's return rate, if you look at it, is 0.06%, not even 0.1%, right? So discipline builds trust, which is the basis for all relationship. And some aspects that nurture trust is longevity. Now, Atomy's been around for at least 11 years now. With no problems, with no complaints, with not many people returning their products, great staying power, high culture, high quality, high affordability, strong presence because we are almost over 14% of the world population, and integrity, right? To bring the best for the people who trust us. And through discipline, Atomy has developed this trust, which has led to our success. Okay, so to wrap up, what we're trying to say here is Atomy actually has developed these 3Ds and has applied these 3Ds. And if we also apply these 3Ds in our life, it's a simple process of just morphing into Atomy for your own success. Okay, thank you very much, guys. If you have any questions, just put it out, yeah?
So thanks, Andrew, for the much information and much knowledge for us all. Okay, so anyone here have any questions for Andrew?
Get in touch with what you want to do. So that's why I use the Atomy.
Hi, Andrew. Good evening.
Yes.
How are you, bro?
Yeah, tell you, bro.
Okay, I think one of common things that we normally do here is, hold on, let me hold. All right. One of the common things that we normally do here is money is evil. Hence, that actually, I wouldn't say prevent, but it slows down people, from actually making money. And that is actually something very, very negative that, people are already associated with it. How do we break that?
Okay, I'll give you an example. When I said that it's a little story. So when I was 18 years old, right, when I joined the insurance business, right, I had a mentor, and his mentor told this story. Now, he was an Indian man who was a former Tamil school teacher, right? So he had a friend who he grew up from small. So they're very close. So he then said, I want to change my life because this teacher's income is not helping me. So what he did was he went to insurance. So he said, hey, come along with me, let's do it together. The friend said, no, I know, I'm okay, he had this impression that money is evil, right? So he left it, right? So he said, never mind, now you're taking bus, you buy bicycle, then we see. So this mentor of mine went ahead, he did his business, and he had enough money, he bought a bicycle, and then he came back and said, hey, brother, come, sit with me. I will drive, Kayo will take you to do business. Then the friend said, no need, you get a motorbike first, then we see. So this went on, every time he came with a success, right? This friend of his said, get a car, get a bigger car, get a house, this, that, whatever it is. Finally, after 30 years, right? This mentor of mine is very successful, multi-millionaire, lots of properties, lots of cars. And even at that point, because he loves his friend, he says, brother, come and join me. And guess what the friend said? Too late now, bro. I should have started 30 years ago. So sometimes the belief that money is evil or that they should not change or they are ordained to be poor, sometimes that fear is entrenched in someone. So how do you want to change those beliefs? Is you share as much as you can, all right? But we have to move on. Now, this mentor of mine actually then said that this guy's daughter wanted to get married, and then he came to him for a loan, So he said, hey, what is this? You're my brother. So he completely, foot the bill for the wedding and the gifts and whatever not. And when I asked him, why did you do that, sir? I mean, he's never been any of use to you, But then he then said, listen, it is because of him that I was able to climb the ladder of success. So he was the rung. Each step, whenever he said, buy the bicycle, buy the motorcycle, buy the car, buy the house, he was the rung in the ladder of my success. So how can I forget him? So the question is, do we want to be successful or be in someone else's ladder of rung in their ladder of success? So that's one way of looking at it. But essentially, the belief that money is evil actually comes from a generational view, right? In fact, if we look at all the scriptures, and most of these people who say money is evil believe are very strongly religious, right? But what they don't understand is all the scriptures, all the religions actually do not say money is evil. It is the love of the money that's evil, the avariciousness that's evil. So we need to explain to them, listen, money itself is not evil. It is what you do with the money. That means money just magnifies who you are. If you're a good person, you will do more good. If you're an evil person, you'll do more evil. That's all. You know. So to give you a simple answer, when you speak to someone who has this belief, you got to stop talking about developing him or whatever, but talk about his understanding of the money. I find that a lot of the people I speak to, especially from the B40 and all that, they all have this view that money is evil. And why is, as I said earlier, the belief comes from the loved ones. The loved ones have actually transferred this belief inadvertently because that's what they believe. So at some point, the belief is not the truth. That's one thing. Belief is not the truth. So when you explain to them that you have to change your belief can be changed, then they will appreciate. But I must tell you, Wishong, that a lot of the times, the situation with the guy who didn't want to change only is the case. We try our best, we show love, we show compassion, because we are not only worried about them, but as I said, the generation who's not yet born, we are worried about them as well. But sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So, sorry. Okay, cool.
Great, bro. Great.
All right.
Thanks.
Anyone else? See, when you talk about, I just wanted to say something. I mentioned architecture as one of the disciplines, right? I just want to share something with you, which is something else I read. It said, the mind, it's an image, right? So if, say, for example, a sculptor wants to bring something onto this world, this plane, first he sees it in his mind. Then he puts it in a 2D, which is he draws. And then only it converts it to 3D. So it can be as simple as designing a cup. You have it in your mind, then you put it in paper, and then you make a mold and you convert it into 3D. Same thing that architects do. They have a beautiful building in their mind, they draw the design, they look at the 3D, whatever, and then they actually actualize that, what is in their mind. So if you follow the simple principle, it always starts with the image. If you imagine yourself being, in a particular position, each of you have your goals, each of you have your dreams. If you imagine yourself, and if you imagine it as detailed as possible, that is why, our life scenario is very important. Because if you look at our life scenario, it forces you to actually think of what you want in many aspects and as detailed as possible. Only then, and when you write it down, which is your 2D, remember, just like your architecture plan, when you write down your life plans, you write down your goals, and then only it will actually actuate in this life. If you don't follow this 3-step process, most of the time we will be discouraged or frustrated because what we imagine comes out as something else. Yeah? Cool.
So I think there are some great books like The Power of Thinking Big, Magic of Positive Thinking. I think this would help. So normally I would suggest to friends, not even in Atomy and elsewhere, do a lot of reading. That actually opens up one's mind and the unlimited possibilities.
Really.
All right.
It's like what, no, bro? It's like if I am going to go to, say, Pasir Panjang, for example, right? I don't know how to go. I don't have a map. I have to ask you. Say you know how to do that. So you tell me, okay, this is what you see. You come after the toll, you turn left, you see this building. So you visualize it for me. So it's as if I'm you going to Pasir Panjang. So that's why we need a good mentor or a good book, because that actually does the mapping for us. And reading for reading's sake, a lot of people read, they have a lot of information, but they don't act on that information. The idea is to read, to learn, and then to actuate. That's the third process that you must do, the action. If that it doesn't happen, then the book remains an information that you know, which has really no meaning in this world, in this reality. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Andrew and Miss Yong. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining tonight. And thank you again, Andrew, for sharing much value for all of us. Okay. So we will meet next week, the English preview on same day, same time. All right. So good night, everyone. Thanks for coming in. Bye.
Okay.